purchasing crack from homeless people in LA, snorting coke off a stripper's ass, being in and out of rehab 6 times. Today we're going to dive deep into the story of Hunter Biden. In this video, I'm going to talk about addiction. It is a very serious topic, and I'm not making fun of his addiction, but rather how privileged Hunter is, and he has had everything afforded to him, and he continues to throw it down the toilet, and just how he cannot get his damn act together. So the story of Hunter Biden starts out in 1988. He's 18 years old, and Joe Biden and the family are out on a trip by Jersey Shore. Everyone's having a blast until little old Hunter gets his first slip up. He gets arrested for narcotics possession. But did he get a ticket? Did he get some jail time? His dad did famously say we need to hold every drug user accountable.
We have to hold every drug user accountable.
But instead, he got a pre-trial intervention. Well, what's a pre-trial intervention? It's community service, while having your record expunged. All of this while your dad is the lead advocate for the war on drugs.
The president says he wants to wage a war on drugs, but if that's true, what we need is another D-Day, not another Vietnam.
So he was given the chance to reform and have a fresh start being 18 and all. And just a couple months later, Hunter gets into Georgetown University to study history. He starts drinking a bit more, starts smoking Marlboro Reds, kind of starts partying more, and also starts to ramp up his cocaine habit. Quoted here, "Once I was hoping to buy cocaine, but I was sold a piece of crack, and I wasn't sure how to take the drug. I didn't have a stem," which is a pipe. "So instead I improvised. I stuffed the crack into a cigarette and I smoked it, but it didn't have much of an effect." Quoted from the New Yorker. It's 1993 and Hunter graduates from Georgetown and gets into law school. So he's in law school, he starts partying even more. And while he's partying, he meets a girl named Kathleen. And after a couple of weeks of hanging out, she gets knocked up. And within 3 months of that, they got married. Hunter eventually graduates law school and he gets his first real job as a big attorney, working for the biggest donor for his dad's campaign, MB&A Bank. And he was making the big bucks. He was making as much money as his dad was being a senator.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. No, I'm serious. I'm being deadly earnest.
And this afforded him the ability to ramp up his habit. Starts drinking from the bottle. And he's doing this for about 10 years. And 10 years later, in 2003, his wife forced him to go to rehab. He was stumbling around. His crack habit was out of control. And within the month of going to rehab, he's attending Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, and Hunter achieved 7 years of sobriety. But then once 2010 came along, Hunter's on a business trip, he's flying home from Madrid. He decides, I'm gonna have 3 Bloody Marys. Knocks him back, gets back home. He continues to drink in secret for a couple of months. Eventually told his brother, and he went to rehab again. About a couple years later, Hunter gets a real nasty case of the shingles. Goes to the doctor and they prescribe him Vicodin. He's taking Vicodin for about a month, but once his prescription ran out, he started drinking again. And while on a month-long drinking binge, Hunter decided he was going to join the military and serve his country at the ripe old age of 44. And on May 7th, he was assigned to the Reserve Naval Unit in Norfolk. So Hunter gets sworn in from a small ceremony with his father at the White House. And on his first day, Hunter had to submit a drug test. He submitted the test, and then just a few months later, he gets a letter in the mail stating that cocaine was found in his system. And under Navy rules, a positive test triggers a discharge. But he was positive. It was not his fault. It couldn't have been his. So he wrote a letter. He got a team of attorneys together. And they said, we had no idea how this drug got in my system. And he suggested that when I was at the bar, I think I smoked a cigarette from these 2 black men, and it had to have been laced with cocaine. So he spent months debating this with his attorneys, with the appeals panel, but because of his past drug abuse and his rehab stints, they decided not to appeal. So the records show Hunter was discharged February 8th, 2014. And from there, the crack binge continued.
We have a lot of bad judgment in my family. My son, who's over 40, just joined the United States Navy, is about to be sworn in as an officer.
So just a couple of months later from being discharged from the Navy for using cocaine, Hunter gets a nice cushy job on the board of Burisma, with no previous experience in energy, working at the largest Ukrainian gas and energy firm. And you want to know how much Hunter Biden made? He made $86,000 a month.
In the list that you gave me of the reasons why you're on that board, you did not list the fact that you were the son of the vice president.
Yeah, no.
What role do you think that played?
I think that it is impossible for me to be on any of the boards that I just mentioned without saying that I'm the son of the Vice President of the United States.
Maybe this isn't a good idea to go and sit on the board of this Ukrainian company.
I said to you, in retrospect, I wish
Right, but
that
at
my
the
judgment...
time, you never thought, this might not look right.
You know what? I'm a human. And you know what? Did I make a mistake? Well, maybe in the grand scheme of things, yeah.
So right after getting his job at Burisma, Hunter decides, I'm going to get cleaned up this time. So he goes to the sketchiest rehab clinic in all of Mexico, in Tijuana, to get the illegal treatment in the United States using the West African shrub plant. But then a couple months later, he starts using again. And he's doing this for about a year. And then in June 6th of 2015, a very significant event happens.
Good evening. The political world tonight is mourning the death of Beau Biden, the son of Vice President Joe Biden, who succumbed to brain cancer Saturday at the age of 46.
His brother Joseph dies of a brain tumor. It's unexpected, it's a real tragedy. And during this time, Hunter starts using even more. And his wife forced him to go to couples therapy. And they reached an agreement that if Hunter started drinking again, he would have to move out of the house. And the day after their 22nd anniversary, Hunter left his couples therapy session, drank a bottle of vodka, and moved on out. A month later goes by of this. He's moved out, and he decides, I'm gonna get sober again. Let's go to rehab. And he's really trying to show his wife that he was cleaning up. He wanted to make things work with her. So he's in rehab, and then all of a sudden,
a website that encourages people to cheat on their partners is reeling from a huge data breach. AshleyMadison.com executives confirmed this morning that their website has been hacked.
the Ashley Madison hack happens. And you know whose name was in the database? Hunter Biden. Not only that, his credit card was on file, pictures were on file, photos were on file. And because of that, Hunter and Kathleen finally decided to separate, not get divorced, due to the Ashley Madison hack revealing that he was cheating on her this whole entire time. And Hunter continued to use and fall down the dark hole of drug abuse for a couple of months. So Hunter decides to enroll in rehab again. It's a treatment program. And while there, he gets a call to go to a business meeting in Monte Carlo. So Hunter flies out, and while he's in the bathroom of a board meeting, a stranger came up to him and offered him cocaine. And then Hunter started doing the cocaine.
Come on, man.
So when he came back from his business trip and went back to the rehab, he told his counselors about the relapse, but he refused to take a drug test out of concerns that the results would be used against him and published in the press. And when the staff insisted that you take a test, he decided to leave the program. It's about a month later. Hunter and his dead brother's widow, Haley, went to the Hamptons with their children, really just trying to get away from it all. And Hunter would spend nights over at Haley's house watching TV, and Hunter stated, I started to think of Haley as the only person in my life who understood my loss. They were starting to get closer and closer, while Hunter was still married to his wife. So Hunter, who was already moved out of his marital home with his estranged wife Kathleen, somehow kind of dating his dead brother's widow Haley, he made plans to go head to a detox center in Arizona to get cleaned up. And while he was on the layover flight in LA, he got sidetracked, lost something in the flight, he had to stay in LA for a week. So the minute he got to LA, he walked up to a homeless man and asked him, hey man, you know where I could buy some crack? The man took him to a nearby homeless encampment where in a narrow passageway between the tents, someone put a gun to his head before realizing that he was a buyer. And Hunter returned a few more times to buy crack that week, while partying in strip clubs and nightclubs all throughout LA. And after a week-long crack binge, Hunter decided, I'm gonna go just drive to the rehab myself in Arizona, while in the midst of a crack episode. So he rents a car at Hertz and takes off on a 7-hour trip in the middle of the night to go head to rehab. So he's driving down Interstate 10, listening to tunes, smoking some crack, and then all of a sudden lost control of his car. Jumped the median, skipped to the stop on the shoulder on the westbound side. His car was totaled. So Hunter called Hertz, who collected the damaged car, and gave him a second rental. And he told him that there was a barn owl that flew overhead when I was driving, and I just had to swerve the car because I didn't want to hit the owl. Hertz takes the car back, they give him a new one, he's on his merry way. And that night, Hunter arrived at the rehab in Prescott and dropped off the car at the Hertz Rent-A-Car Center. So when Hertz took back the car, they're cleaning the car, they're seeing if he left anything inside. And what did they find? Well, Hertz ended up calling the police because of what they found. They found a bag of crack, a meth pipe, Secret Service business cards, Hunter's credit cards, Hunter's driver's license, and his dead brother Joseph's Attorney General badge. But Hunter was not around. The police had no idea where he was at. So within the hour, the police ended up calling the FBI to get involved. And while they're requesting the warrants on the phone, the police get a call from a Secret Service agent. And he informs them that Hunter is safe and secure and there's no need to worry about him. Even though it was a Biden family member, the district attorney was still going to bring a case against Hunter. So they're building a case, but then last minute they decide to drop it. The reason why they decided to drop the case was citing a lack of evidence. There wasn't any fingerprints on the pipe, even though it was confirmed that there was crack cocaine residue all over the pipe. And once again, Hunter is on his merry way. So just 1 week after the Hertz Rent-A-Car accident, he's in rehab, and his dead brother's widow, Haley, flew out to go see Hunter. And during their stay, they got extremely close, and they decided that they were going to be a couple, but keep their relationship a secret, hiding from Hunter's wife and the press. But soon the press found out, and Hunter's wife. Titled, "Beau Biden's Widow Having an Affair with Married Brother." Within a couple of months, Hunter's wife, Kathleen, filed for divorce. Not only did she just file for divorce, but she also filed a motion to freeze his assets, stating that over the course of the separation, Hunter had drained hundreds of thousands of dollars from the couple's marital assets, creating financial concerns for the family by spending extravagantly on his own interests, including drugs, alcohol, prostitutes, strip clubs, gifts for women with whom he had sexual relations, while leaving his family no funds to pay legitimate bills. Through these proceedings, the judge came that Kathleen should receive a monthly payment of $37,000 for alimony, tuition, childcare costs for a decade. And Hunter said he was cleaned out. He said, "There's no way I can pay this." He had nothing. Even though he's making $86,000 a month being on the board of Burisma. But what pissed Hunter off the most in these whole court proceedings was being accused of hiring strippers and prostitutes. And he denied them, saying he hadn't seen a stripper in years. And the evening that story was published in the New York Post, he said, "I went directly to a strip club and I said, fuck him." Hunter started going to several strip clubs right after this incident came out. There's been stories of him getting sex toys used on him, he's using sex toys on others, smoking crack in strip clubs in the VIP rooms. It's 2018 and Hunter's going to tons of strip clubs. And one stripper catches his eye, Dallas. And he loves Dallas. And he's hanging out with Dallas, everything's all great. And just a couple of months later, Dallas goes up to Hunter and tells him that she's pregnant with this kid. And Hunter wants nothing to do with it. So she has the kid, she goes to court trying to get child support. And in the middle of all of this, they demand a paternity test being done. So while the test is being done, Hunter meets a woman, Melissa Cohen. And after just 6 days of meeting her, they got married. They got matching tattoos as well. And Melissa and him buy a house together in LA. And while they're doing all of this, Dallas comes back with the paternity test results, and it is Hunter's kid. So currently right now, they're in the middle of a child support lawsuit where they're trying to get the money out of Hunter, but Hunter's saying he has nothing. He's cleaned out, even though he just bought a $3.3 million home in LA. Despite Hunter staying very low-key in his LA home, he has come up in the news recently with his laptop situation. And the laptop does confirm a lot of the incidents that have happened throughout the years with the different strippers and prostitutes and all of that. Does any of this have to do with Joe Biden? I would say kind of, because his dad was the leading advocate for the war on drugs, the 1994 crime bill, that harshened sentences for crack cocaine. And despite all of that, Hunter has never been to jail, he's never gotten a ticket for any of this, and he's consistently gotten away with it. And I think the biggest thing to take away here is that this is politics. This is the hypocritical stuff that politicians do. Trump does it.
Hunter.
Joe Biden does it.
Come on, man.
Obama does it. Everyone does it. And in regards to the whole Burisma thing with his father being the vice president, I just want to read you one. This is an actual law. Federal regulation prohibits federal employees from using public office for private gain or for the private gain of relatives. This regulation, however, does not apply to the president or vice president. So even if these things did happen, they are not illegal. This is the way government is. And that's where we're at with the saga of Hunter Biden. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe.